Hey everybody, welcome back to Gardens the Untold Story. I'm your host, Ken Somerville. My co-host and good brother, Andy Lopez, the Invisible Gardener. And we're covering his book, Don't Panic, It's Organic, going chapter by chapter. This chapter is on natural disease control. So, Andy, this is from your book, brother. So let's get into it.
Take it away. Hey, everybody. Before I forget, you can get the copy of this ebook for free. Just go to my website. Those of you already on get my newsletter, you should be able to. The last newsletter went out has the links. You click on it, it sends email directly to me. You get the ebook. Not only will you get this book, you're going to get a couple other ebooks too. The one on bricks, the one on that basically covers the refractometer. There's one on rock dust, and there's one called Natural Pest Control Alternatives for Chemicals for Home Gardening. And then this book, you're basically ebooks. And I'll send them to you right away because it's really easy to do it. We're working on a way down the road where you can get a code and then you just go up to the website and download it. Right now it's for sale, so you don't have to pay for it. Just go to the website. If you get in the newsletter, it should be there. If not, get the newsletter. So let's just cover. I have a lot to cover because natural disease control is one of my favorite, believe it or not. I have so much fun with this because it's like cooking. So I have learned to not to burn the food, so to speak.
Yeah.
And so on the first page of the natural disease control, I said if you eliminate the cause, you eliminate its effects, and that is pretty much it in a nutshell. So we're done, guys. See you guys later.
Next week we're talking about
It was really fun, and so in terms of I talk a lot about the biology, so you know where I'm getting at in terms of what the real cause is. People come up to me and they say, "Well, I have this tree disease," and I said, "You don't have a tree disease problem. You have a soil biology problem." When people come up to me, I have an ant problem. I said, you don't have an ant problem. You have a soil. In the past, I used to say a soil problem. Now, because of you, I say soil biology problem. And they understand that. They get that. And that's so cool. Because when you say soil, they go, what are you talking about, man? It doesn't. I did that for many years. What is in organic gardening? They would say, feed the soil, and the soil will feed the plants. I go, what is he talking about? I would not. Hello, anybody in there? There's nobody in this soil. What are you talking about? So soil biology really explains it very, very easily, and it's what's interesting. So it fascinates. See, I've been doing this for so long. I find it really fascinating because the connections that Mother Nature has set up. It's really, really, really super interesting. The soil web, which is another name for it, it's absolutely like the internet. I was reading Paul Stamets How Mushrooms Can Save the Earth. That's a good book. You guys should get it. It's called How Mushrooms Can Save the Earth. And it turns out that mushrooms have been around a long, long time. They've been saving the earth many, many times in the past before. I just saw a really cool video, a movie about an hour or so long, all about mushrooms and how long it's been around. They used to have forest mushrooms are as tall as trees in those days. And they have mushrooms doing all kinds of things, how they break down food. And so I love because I get into the mycelium seed, and the mycelium is the key to this whole thing. I just did a little short video outside of my garden because I found 4 mushrooms growing. 4 mushrooms were growing there. And in the past, if you all been watching what I've been doing in my garden, it's hydrophobic. It's not even soil. They had a road there at construction sand, right? Not a single earthworm. And now it's harder to dig without running into the worms. And also, I see that the soil is holding water more. It's getting darker. It used to be like really white construction sand. It's getting really, really dark. Hi, everybody. Getting darker and more alive. And the key has always been, I have here the good guys and the bad guys don't live in the same place. I tried to make it really simple for everybody because what that means is that, you know what the good guys are. The good guys are the ones that we want, the microbial life that we want in the soil. And when you have bad guys, basically, I'm just referring to diseases, right? So, but there's no such thing as good microbial, it's a bad microbial. Everybody has a job, and they all function for a reason. It's really very cool how these intertwine. And so one of the things I also going to cover with you is that I have been doing some research myself so I can come up with the most information for you guys. And I have 10 connections with trace minerals that I will cover for you. I have a list. And it's really, really cool because it covers iron, copper, magnesium, and what they do. A lot of people, I want to be clear. When I tell people they have plants have a trace mineral deficiency, it's really the soil that has the trace mineral deficiency. And what there really has is that it's not the soil's trace mineral deficiency. They have a deficiency in the production of the biology that takes care of that particular area. When you have an army, you have an efficient army. You have thousands of people doing this and doing that and doing this. Somebody makes the food. Somebody does it. If you just miss one person, the whole thing falls apart because it's like the what's the name of the one of a shoe the kingdom was lost, that the little poem about the horseshoe.
Nope, not in my brain, man.
Basically, it was the king's horse lost had a shoe fell off, and because of that, the king fell over and died, and it's just because of a shoe. But basically, what it means is that all the parts are very important, and that little piece is missing. The rest of it doesn't function. So what I've learned from experience, and this is over and over again, is that I don't need to know who does what. All I need to know is that everybody's there doing their thing. And you can tell because you'll see earthworms, you'll see all kinds of other creatures running around in the soil. You'll see that the color of a plant is absolutely amazing. So one of the interesting things that happened recently is that I've been using Layton's compost, and I haven't been able to make my own compost, but in the past my compost is what I use because this is what I want. I was a freak about it, but Layton's a freak too, and he makes an amazing compost. And when the customer puts it down, I come back in 2 or 3 days. I go, okay, who sprayed green paint on these trees, or who sprayed because the color has changed. Literally in a few days, the color of the plant has changed. It's not the bright green urea high nitrogen color. It's a blue. Nature doesn't have that color. Nature has a blue green color, which is really a combination of all these different colors coming out. And you can see that the plant is all of a sudden, and the bugs are going, I don't know what's going on. I used to live here. The food isn't any good. We have to leave. And so I've been doing this for a really long time and over and over again. And so I want to tell people that it all comes down to trace minerals. It all comes down to who is in charge of processing those minerals to make it available for the plants and how the system is set up. That's what it comes down to, because the minerals are there. You just have the specialist who takes that mineral.
Can I point something out, Andy?
Sure, man. Sure. That's what it's all about. What?
If you think about it, it's not just the trace minerals to build the plant, but it's the trace minerals that build the biology to build the plant. So if you're missing certain trace minerals, certain biology, like say protozoa, can't be create that are helping your plant. So
that's exactly what I'm talking about. Exactly what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So basically, I'm trying to tell people, because I was telling them about trace minerals in the plant, see, right? But it's also trace minerals in the soil that are missing. And and quite often, Mother Nature, in the old days, Mother Nature always had everything you need. She recycles from everywhere. You weren't missing anything. Now it's easier to be missing something because all these things are not happening the way it used to. Animals are no longer flying all over the place, dropping dead, doing all the recycling everywhere. They're like the good old days. Now there's going to be a deficiency in that area. So we have to pay attention to that, because that is the key to dealing with any kind of disease and any kind of pest, fungi, and some of the basic things that I've always been telling people. And I got this. This is just so. When reading my book, I realized that it's really written in a very simple way, because it's really like a beginner's manual. It really is, because it covers the basics that you need. And this is what happened. So for me, I've been doing this like forever. I already on to writing a new version of this book. I already started, because you like cooking. You learn how to really deal with things. And this is all great. This is all stuff you need to do. You need to learn how to basically do a basic dinner. But you really want to learn how to have your stomach working, because it's not what you eat, it's what you absorb. And so it goes back down to, the better you make your compost, the better you make your soil, right? The better you make the biology of the soil, the better you're going to be dealing with all these diseases and pests. I just did a podcast on gopher control, and I could have gone over and say, this is what you do, this is a trap, or this is the stuff you sprinkle around, But I spend most of the time talking about soil biology.
Yeah.
And I tell people, you don't have a gopher problem, you have a soil biology problem. And that's going to be my mantra nowadays when people call me up. No, that's not a problem you have. You have a soil biology problem, because that's so simple. It explains it. Any idiot go look at it and go, soil biology problem. Well, I think I understand a little, because they have to understand what soil and what biology is, right? I mean, it's not that hard. When you say microbes, you give all these other names, you go, but when you say it's like saying star. So it makes it very easy for you to understand what the problem. Then you have to say, well, what is the problem, right? What is the problem? Is my soil biology? Why is it not working? So it goes back to trace minerals again, but what it really does, it goes back down to understanding. I also another show on bio. I think I call it biology gardening, right? Where what you're really doing is increasing the biology of your garden. That's why I like worm farming. As I get in my youth, I would make compost, go out and collect all these different things, different biologies, which I would then mix it together in the proper way. I would determine I eat for snacks, which is.
I know it made me giggle, Serena. Thank you very much. I needed that giggle.
Serena, did you get the newsletter? Did you click on the email for the ebook? I haven't seen your email. Oh, I didn't get my newsletter. Did you get the newsletter? Because it came out just a few days ago, maybe a week ago, right?
Yeah, just Serena, over a week ago. At the end
if you sign up for the newsletter, you should have gotten the newsletter. The newsletter. It says click here. If you clicked on it, I'll send you 4 books, 4 ebooks. You're going to get, Serena. Okay? Did she say it? I made it up Friday night.
No, she said she made it up Friday night, so she's talking about the joke.
Oh, okay. So I forgot everything. Who are we? What are we doing here? Anyway, so I want to go a little bit deeper and try to help you understand what basically. See, Mother Nature works in a couple of interesting ways. She uses iron, for example. Okay, iron is something we need in our body. We can be iron deficient, right? That means you don't have the proper iron to function, right? And it's also iron that the plants need. And it's also iron that has to be in the ground, right? And so, it was interesting. This is the way that Mother Nature uses iron. What it does is that it takes iron out of the soil, and what it does is that there's certain pathogens that need iron. By having the iron gone, it disrupts the pathogens, which are disease, like leaf spot diseases, stuff like that, from prolificating, because they need the iron too. So this particular, there are microbes, and it's a really long name of the microbes is Bacillus.
Bacillus?
Bacillus.
Bacillus,
right? And that takes the iron out. But if you look at this, you need zinc, you need copper, magnesium, boron, all these other exotic ones. Remember, the exotic ones are very important. Now here's a very exotic one: molybdenum.
Malignum, and it's a lot of people just call it Molly because they can't pronounce malignum.
Is it MLMOLYBDENUM?
Yes, that's malignum.
Malignum. Okay.
Malignum. Yeah, it took me a long
Fine.
time to be able to pronounce it properly.
This is basically what that does is it encourages a certain bacteria to produce more nitrogen,
Yeah.
right? And here's a boron, for example. So what this micro does is it absorbs the boron, especially in areas where you have this specific fungus which needs the boron to function. So you find more and more of the examples how Mother Nature take copper, for example. So copper alters the soil microbial communities, okay, and it promotes pathogens. So if you have too much copper, it kills the beneficial soil bacteria, right, and earthworms. So that's copper toxicity. So it goes both ways. You know, that's why it's called trace minerals. So you don't overdo it. One of the things that people tend to do is they dump a lot of these things everywhere, and they basically are overdoing it, and it kills the soil biology.
Yeah, they're putting it out of balance too far one way or another. Once you get out of balance, you're doing more harm than good. That's where Leighton Key says, "Don't be a moron."
Don't be a moron, right?
It's all about the balance. Don't put, like, if you think the copper is great, if you put too much on, now you're putting more on than necessary, and now you've created your own problem. Dang it.
So we can't really talk about bacteria, about diseases. We can be talking about diseases in plants and flowers and stuff. So it's basically the same thing. It depends on, but it's slightly different. It depends what they are. Without really talking about water, and they're so linked together because if your water is toxic, your biology is going to end up being toxic, and there's your disease. Because certain diseases need water. They need humidity, and normally in nature you have biology in the water, which stops the diseases from spreading. But if you have water that doesn't do anything, doesn't have the right biology, it's going to promote the disease to spread. So that's why it's important.
Anything out of a city tap doesn't have pretty much any biology in it.
No, they have to. It's the opposite. It's meant to kill biology. So and that's one of the things that I really like about it, because what I do is basically I make my liquid and I use it for everything, not just to feed plants, not just to spray it on the soil, but I would use it for ant control. I use it for gopher control. I use it to control any disease it runs across on the plants, whether it be a fungus, a manga, sooty mold, and without having to change the formula. What's so cool? I don't have to make it differently. I don't have to go
you're spraying biology, Andy.
It's really cool. You can hear this little guy. Hey, Charlie, we got an ammo over here. It's like, and it's the same biology goes out, because I've learned to make it such a mess. People say, well, can you give me a formula? I said, sure. In the book, there is a formula for the super seaweed, by the way, and it covers like maybe 80% of it. The other 10%, I'm not telling you, because those are secret, but not really. I think what happened was that I've been doing this for a long time, and I basically buy stuff from people rather than me trying to make everything. Hey, you do a good mix, I'll buy that. Oh yeah, this is a pretty good mix, I'll buy that. So I've been buying two particular products which are not available anymore. The people, they died. Okay, they went up and died on me.
They've been doing it so long, Andy. The people that started these businesses are dying. That's pretty rough.
And they one of them, the kid took over, right? It's called Nitron 835. Nitron 835 was an amazing enzyme product. Both of these are enzyme products, but they have a very special bacteria biology that comes with them, because this Nitron product that they made in big giant vats, and basically it would I think it's an effective microorganism. It's one of those things where it works on everything.
Yeah.
Okay?
Where it
Basically,
can live in both an oxygenated environment and a non-oxygenated environment.
right. That's where I first heard of effective microorganisms. The folks would have a conference. It's called Nitron, and Nitron Industries. It's still there, I think. I'm not really sure now. That because it was the parents or they were it because they knew what they were doing, and they promoted the organic workshop. I will be as a speaker, but there was lots of other things they were doing. And I think when they died, the knowledge kind of went with them because the son was not very good at it. He diluted the product. I bought it. I said, "This is not the same product. It's highly diluted." I could have told him, "Look, I can make the batch like he makes it because it's something that anybody can make the batch. If you learn how, you need a little bit, you make a lot." That's basically the way it comes down to, right? You only need a small amount of the original product. You can make a lot. And so, anyway, there's another company that also too that they're still around. I probably shouldn't be mentioning name, but basically their product is a boron, boron, and boron is one of those exotic metals that's also needed. And you find that there's not very much mention. Okay, here's a boron deficiency, but it has to do with what's an AMF condensation? Okay, all right, fine. Well, AMF.
I don't know. That was out of my league, man.
AMF is basically a form of microbes that live in the soil, and they basically deal with diseases. And so boron deficiency is one of those things when if you don't have boron, the plants will get more and more diseases. They'll be weakened because boron is like calcium is one of those elements, the key that allows other things to function as well.
Well, I know tomatoes really need boron, but speaking of that, I just want to jump on Serena's question here. We will have 2 nights, Monday and Tuesday, with 25 degrees Fahrenheit for the low Monday and 32 for the low Tuesday. Should I just go ahead and harvest all tomatoes or cover them? Suggestions, Andy.
You live there, man. I wait. Is it? No, she said something about cold. Oh yeah, and I don't deal with that stuff. So you tell her what to do.
Well, like Lily actually answered, it's really a preference. You can cover them and hope. Myself personally, unless you're seeing like fantastic temperatures for the next few weeks after that, the plants have pretty much done for the season. You're not getting the high temperatures. You're not getting a lot of growth. So it's really up to you. If you have the time, harvest them, then you don't have to worry anymore.
I don't even know what 25 degrees is. I'm already thinking about 25. I mean, it gets down here to 75 degrees. I'm freezing.
Well, yeah, but Andy, it's like everybody that lives down there. I tell them, hey, I can put more clothes on to keep warm. You can only take so much off before they throw you in jail, man.
Well, I wouldn't know about that. I wouldn't know about that. But okay, so hang on. So let me just go over some of these other things. I think they're really cool too. Some of the basic stuff for diseases is okay. So we talked about the viruses and the soil biology. You really want to key into that because that will cure everything. So look at it this way. See, the effects. There's law of cause and effect. So if you're looking at diseases and all these kind of things, as an effect, you never get done. You never deal with it. Look at diseases.
Never deal with the cause, yeah.
Right. Look at the cause. So if you start to, and the cause always goes back to the health of the soil. Always goes back. Unless you're on another planet or in a spaceship, and even then, it goes back to how healthy your food is, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if you look at it, it all goes back to the biology, because without that biology building the cells that make up the plant and make up the tomato, the fruit of the plant, it doesn't exist. So it really everything our bodies, everything organic on our planet or that we want to grow, it all comes down to it's all about the biology.
So what it comes to, the important thing is that there are long-term and short-term solutions. So
Yeah.
long-term, it's going to take you a while. Not you, it's going to take the soil or what. Just assume you have everything, put it together right away. Not overnight. Maybe in some super compost product that can speed up the process, heal up. Even then, that still is going to take some time for everything to settle down, and because the root systems have to heal, the root hairs have to develop on it, the way the plants function, like human beings. When you give them something to heal, it takes time for you to generate that particular enzyme, that particular cell, that structure, the bone, or everything. It takes
Yeah.
time to heal. I like to teach short-term and long-term solutions. So you always have to start with the long-term right away. You have to look at it and say, okay, I got to fix the soil. What do I need to do? Okay, I need to make compost. I need to control the water, put a filter on the water, all these other things, mulching, and all the physical, cultural things you need to do. Have the soil functioning, because a lot of people try to grow and stuff without amending the soil. Normally in nature, Mother Nature amends the soil for you. The animals do it. Things get turned over. It's real easy. You don't have to dig hard. You have this amazing. I heard somewhere in one of these states that soil is 20 foot deep. I'm going, you're crying out loud, right? Because it's wonderful, luminous soil. So
Used to be that way anyway.
yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I've been to I was reading about natural forests in the old days that you can literally be up to your shoulder. That's how deep the humus is and all that stuff that's in there. The worms but so in the meantime, you want to be able to do something now, and also too, talk here about plants and varieties and the planting in the proper time. So you're doing vegetables, you have to learn when properly plant tomatoes. Say you can't plant them in certain times of year or other vegetables and stuff, because they require certain temperatures to function in. In other words, they require the soil to be certain temperatures to function in. Otherwise,
your brassicas, your lettuce, they like a colder temperature. They grow much better in the spring and in the fall than they do through the heat of a summer.
Exactly right. So one of the things I learned, started growing stuff, is that everything has a time and place to be growing in, even location. So I buy seeds that says Zone 7. I'm looking at them and going, well, there's a reason why it's Zone 7, because they need a certain amount of cold nights, cold, I forget what you call it, but they freezing time or something like that, right? Is that what it's called? No?
Well, yeah, it can freeze, but the thing, Andy, most of our plants don't survive a hard freeze. They die, but the colder temperatures, is like I said with the brassicas, they like that cooler temperature, not freezing necessarily, but cooler.
Yeah. So I've learned from experience that I can't grow certain vegetables, for example, during certain times of year, because it just won't like it, but it likes it better other times of the year. So that's the process of also to the different varieties you can get in terms of vegetables, in terms of fruit, trees. All the different varieties have specific requirements that makes them healthier, because if you meet those requirements. So you can't ignore that and expect the plants to be healthy if you're not paying attention to some of their basic requirements. Like as human beings, you really have to be able to have food that you can eat, and you have to be in the right environment to grow and survive. So if you don't take care of those things, you're going to have major problems no matter what you do down the road. So those are basic cultural things that you have to deal with. But in the interim, if you have plants that are having a disease, it's going to take a while for that disease to work its way through, for the plants to get healthier. They may not even become healthy. They may end up dying, because they get to a certain point where they give up. That's why I do the foliar applications, because you want to learn how the foliar is sprayed, because they absorb it right away. That's why I talk a lot about using a refractometer system, because you get instant results. You say, oh, look, I just sprayed with this, and look what it did to the plant. You go, wow. Even though you come back a few days later, it goes right back to a different one. It did get that hit. So it's just a matter of how often can you you have to give them the foliar application, which has the trace minerals. How often can they use that and create something to make them stronger, right? Sometimes they're so weak, they don't have the crew, so to speak, to build the things they need to do, and they're done. So usually, if the plants look healthy, that means everything's functioning. You just need the tool. They just need the proper tools to get healthier.
Now, I have a question for you, Andy.
Yes,
That you
sir.
say I have all that time. I'm making, all these different sprays. How often, should I be spraying, my crop, whether it's not healthy or it is healthy?
So here's the thing. So a rule of thumb that I've learned to develop is a little bit on a regular basis. So never overdo any like the same thing in the human body. You always take a little bit of medicine on a regular basis rather than a lot, in between. But a lot of it has to do with the time of year when you're trying to fix this. If you're doing it during the right time of year and the plant's still supposed to be growing healthy, and I'm assuming we're talking about plants. So you want to be able to. What I do initially is when I have a problem, say whiteflies, I make there are lots of different things you can make, but all of them are based upon providing nutrition along with something that can be used to control the disease or pests. And so,
Well, it's like what shooting the soil is saying. I worry if I foliar too much, they will be hooked on it, and I'll have to keep doing it. So,
uh,
is there
uh,
that point, or is it a matter of changing the foliar sprays, that you're using?
first of all, when you make foliar applications, uh, it'll vary according to the time of year you're doing it. You want to learn different sprays at different times of the year, which makes a lot of sense when you have something really hot, something's really cold. Also, when the plant's going to be needing these minerals, as to other times where they don't need these minerals. Plant needs to be given highly mineralized spray during the winter time, especially if you live in an environment where the winter is like mellow enough and plants are growing. But if you're living in an environment with snow and you can't do anything, you definitely have to do it before the winter time. So when the winter comes over with, you have all the process there. But in terms of a lot depends on what you're spraying and how often. Really, the way I do it, the way I've learned to do it is like when I start to spray something, I would spray it every day for a week if it's a
Okay.
disease or a
Now,
pest, something
do
like
you
that.
make two different ones? Like, say you're in a vegetative state, like you're growing out your tomato vine or whatever it is before it fruits. Are you using a different spray for the vegetative state than when it's producing the fruit, or is
Right.
there a transition?
No, exactly right. So when you're growing vegetables, and you'll learn that when they're in certain stages what to give them to help them along. Otherwise,
Mhm.
if you give it to them in the wrong stage, it's not going to help them at all. It costs more stress. So yeah, so if a plant's fruiting, is getting ready to produce fruit, or if it's a leafy green kind of thing, you'll learn. But basically, are simple sprays that you can't overdo, because it's not like a chemical fertilizer that if you're giving too much will burn them.
Yeah, yeah.
So and so I listed some of them which are easy to do, but even these, like alfalfa tea, for example, alfalfa
Mhm.
tea has a very critical biology that when you spray, that it's on the leaves as a foliar spray. Plus, you can also use it in the soil because it activates a wide variety of biology as well. You can use it as often as you want to, and I wouldn't worry about the plant getting hooked on it. I think that's good, because a lot of times you feed something, you give it something, the plant's not absorbing. You see the bricks level is not doing anything. You go, oh, play some music. What do you want me to do now for you, right? But that means that it's not.
Disco.
Yeah, that means it's not functioning right. It's not healthy enough
Yeah.
to absorb the nutrients. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes you have to kind of give it to it on a regular basis. Sooner or later, it'll start to absorb the food. Otherwise, you just die on you, because it just doesn't have it together biologically wise, root systems wise. A lot of times they get so used to having. They get very weak when you give them a chemical fertilizer. High nitrogen is very, very bad. They absorb it,
Mhm.
whether they can use it or not. It disrupts their ability to absorb trace minerals, which in essence disrupts their ability to actually make what they need to be making to function. So they end up dying, or they get the way they die, the way Mother Nature set it up, is that they're going to get stressed out. They're going to get the pest and or the disease.
Yeah.
one of the things as I talked before about the key, once you learn, what is the difference between a healthy plant and an unhealthy plant, right? What is
Right.
it? Once
What's
you
the
learn,
difference? Well, a non-healthy plant, the bugs are actually going to be able to see it, and they're going to go, "Oh, hey, I'm supposed to go there and compost this and return it to the soil." Where a healthy plant, they don't want to even touch it.
so
Now,
seeing it,
I gotta do this. Okay,
it's really not full of chocolate. Because,
just don't foliar with chocolate; they'll definitely get hooked. Yeah, there's a true chocoholic.
what were we talking about before I ended talking about the chocolate?
Oh, foliar sprays and boron and you can do too much, too little, different times a year. You can use different
So
mixes of foliar sprays.
here's the thing that's really cool. So if you were using chemical fertilizers, yeah, you're gonna have to be real careful. All these different chemicals, you can overdo them. You can really damage your plant, damage the biota, hurt yourself. Too much copper, too much boron, all these different things can be very, very bad. Basically, in the organic system, they're very simple. They're very mellow. You can do all you want to. If you do it right, it's not going to upset the balance at all. That's what's so cool about it. So you learn how to. There are some exceptions, like for example, baking soda. You use too much of that, you have a problem. You see too much Epsom salts, you have a problem. So you have to learn too much fish emulsion. I don't think you have a problem with too much compost tea or using garlic. It depends on, again, it depends on, I have sprayed too many roses with garlic and they smell like garlic, and it's kind of weird smelling the roses. They smell like garlic. They go, why is my rose smelling like garlic? I go, oops, sorry. But no bugs were eating it, right? It looked really good. So it really depends on what you're using. I like to recommend things that you can just go nuts with it, like milk. You can use a cup of milk or 10 gallons of milk. That plant is not going to go, oh my God, too much milk. The biology was just use it. It was just decomposing. It's not going to cause any stress to the plant, maybe to you a little bit, but not so much for the plant. But same token, I've learned that a tiny amount of milk does an amazing job, because you only need a tiny amount of this product. You can spray a lot if you want to, but it doesn't help it. All you need is, they say, maybe half a cup and a gallon of water. It's clean water. And you basically, there are lots of ways you can prep that. But basically, if you did nothing but just throw half a cup of clean old organic milk and a glass of distilled water, put in a sprayer and spray, you'd be surprised at what that does. Be surprised at what it does. And yeah, they do get the plants. If a plant gets hooked on what you're spraying, that means that they're depending on you, and they're not on their own. They're not healthy enough to be on their own.
Yeah.
If you look at it that way, okay? Because if you don't have to really be spraying them for them to be happy. That would be the point. If you do spraying, it's because something's not working right, and you feel you need to do this to give them that little extra thing to make them grow and be healthier. Whether it has a disease, whether it has a pest, those are indicators, right? What is it? And it makes the milk water to clean the levels out. Yep, exactly right. And the milk is calcium.
Yeah.
And the calcium is a key mineral to everything for our body, in plants, and in the soil, because it's a building tool that the biology uses to get iron, to see all these different magnesium. It needs a calcium as a glue to make it work, and that's really important. Milk is a good source of calcium, and it's got the right bacteria that will break down the milk into calcium and other nutrients, because they also have iron in it, has a magnesium in it, a variety of other things in it. They're very good for the plant and very good for the soil biology.
Now, Farmer Cheryl does point out something interesting here. How do foliar sprays affect the taste? Many people have lactose intolerance. They shouldn't want milk sprayed on their vegetables.
Well, if you're lactose intolerant, that means you definitely don't you have to spray some different things, especially if you're going to be spraying on your vegetables that you're going to eat, because basically I would just not spray the milk. There are other ways that you can get the same results. without spraying
And
the milk.
do it as a soil drench instead of a foliar. But to point something out, guys, the lactic acid bacteria, which is the most prevalent bacteria on our planet, it's literally in the air you breathe. It actually feeds on milk. It's that's where it comes from, is that milk, to get the pure lactic acid bacteria.
Right. So I've learned that you can spray milk on everything, on pine trees, on roses. Uh, I always have really good luck. That was one of my secret ingredients: coffee cream and sugar and molasses.
Yep.
Coffee cream and molasses. It makes an excellent foliar spray because the coffee is acidic, rich in it's organic coffee. It's acidic, rich in iron, magnesium, all these other stuff. Milk, there's your calcium, and there's your bacteria. And then you have molasses, which is the sugar, and that's really heavy, rich in iron. Sulfur, has sulfur in it. Mix all three together, you have yourself an amazing spray that you can spray on your plants. It will absorb it. Use it as a soil soak. Pour it around the base of plants. Trees will love it. Your lawn will love it. Your roses will love it. It also depends on the time of year. And you can, if you have a refractometer, do a reading before, during, and after. By during, you say, you do one before, so okay, it's like 22, I'm going to spray it. And then during, you basically means that you come back in a couple of days. You do like a reading every day for about a week, and you can see whether it's going up or going down. And then you spray it again to see. You want to eventually see what level it stays at, because that's what you want to do. You want to get the level slowly to rise. One of the disadvantages of chemicals, it raises everything really fast, but man, does it crash afterwards. It's not a solid.
Yeah.
Doesn't solid stay there. It goes up, right? It's like it's over with. So I cover a wide things that you can use in terms of the control, but basically it comes down to these are all very, very unique biology. Garlic has its own unique biology. Fish in motion has its own unique biology. Milk, its own unique biology, right? There's horsetail, different kinds of herbs. Herbs are amazing, not just for our bodies, but to spray on plants. One of the things I do for squirrel control and for a variety of other diseases is I learn to use the different herbs that I have. You name lavender, rosemary, all these have very, very unique and you learn certain things you do not mix together because they don't work really well together. You'll learn what that is, how that works, because you can't have an acidic product. Like, for example, you can't have milk and vinegar together. That doesn't work. Try it sometime and see what happens, okay? You're going to get this glove that's going to talk to you.
Yeah, I want to address Farmer Cheryl's question here. Blue Sky Biochar, in his products, he's got the complete refractometer, scissors, press, a beautiful, beautiful kit, and a bunch of charts as well. We would always, and we didn't make no money for what he sells, guys, so we're not affiliated with him. He's a friend of Andy's, but he's got good products.
Just type Blue Sky, and then you're going to find that name's Michael Woodman, and he has this really cool kit. As a matter of fact, I have it right here. And when I first started, there's it comes like this in this box, and it has this is like a little ad. It has a refractometer already. Comes with it. See, there's a refractometer, and he has a little kit that comes with it. The kit has this amazing scissors that you need. It has one of the things about using a refractometer is that you have to get the liquid out of it. So in the old days, I would basically have a motor, a pistol, a few drops of water, and try to crush it to get it out. So he has this little unit that you can just squeeze. And you turn the knob on it, and it squeezes the juice out of the plant, because you can squeeze the juice out of whether it be the flower, the leaf, the green, right? You can do that too. And then the fruit, of course. But mainly people use it for beer making, wine making. A refractometer is what scientists use to determine what the plants are made from, other plants, with minerals and stuff they're made from, what the sun's made from. So they have a refractometer was invented for cooks, was invented by a scientist who also happens to be a cook. When he goes to the store, he will say, "Give me a piece of that and chew on it." So now he gets give me a piece of that, puts it on his refractometer. If it has a low readings, he's not going to get it. If it has high readings, he's going to get it. I mean, which would you eat if somebody has a 28 or a 2? I go, well, I'll take the 28, right? Every time. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so in the book I have covered a variety of other sources of all of these, by the way, molasses and manure tea and milk have different qualities of trace minerals in it. You'll learn that very easily. You can easily find out. You can say have your computer spit out what garlic has, what horsehair has. All of these things have, and the compost is one of the unique ones because the way I did it, I learned from Rudolf Steiner how to blend everything together. I don't go after just one type of animal manure. I would go horse, chicken, rabbit, goat, llama, a deer. Only thing I would not get are lion, tigers, and bears. Even bears are good, but not lions and tigers. But I think you can compost that too. It's just that I always got being a vegetarian, I just didn't like lions and tigers and bear poop. But
yeah,
I did like elephant
and
poop. It's amazing.
Also, Andy, you're only talking about manures, but you can actually different plants as well. Like the more variety of plants you're putting in there, the more variety you're getting as well.
That's right. So when I was making my compost, I always have it layered, and it would be different layers of different plants, whether it be from my local environments. I would take different plants and run it through. I would always use the grass clippings and leaves and anything. The wide variety, the better, because then you're going to get a wide variety of biology come with, and it comes with own trace minerals as well. And so that when you make, that's why when I buy rock dust, I get 14 different varieties of rock dust. There are 14 different sources of rock dust that they all are rich in one thing and deficient in another one. I get this one rock dust that's 30% calcium. You do not find that in rock dust. Yeah, and I hope he's still around because I bought a whole bunch of them from. I got bags here. It comes from Southern California, and there's a hot mud bath spring. So it's
okay.
Yeah, so it's alluvium clay from deep down in the ground. It comes up, like a volcano kind of thing, bubbles up, and it's really super hot. And the heat has melted everything together. Basically, a really amazing clay. It's for healing, it's amazing too. You put it on your skin because it's trace mineral. It sucks up the bad stuff and it gives you the trace minerals back again. But for plants, because it's a nice fine powder, it's excellent to make as a spray. Excellent to add to the. So I've had like 100 pounds, maybe 200 pounds for years now. Because you only need a little bit. When I make my stuff,
it goes a long way.
I do a tiny little bit. When I do, I stop putting in a sprayer because the rock dust doesn't dissolve, so it will go through the machine and tend to clog up the machine after a while. So basically, what I learned to do is feed. So when I have liquids which I get from the worm juice or wherever else I'm doing. One of the best things to do with the rock dust is put it in your compost. But then again, you have to have the small amount of compost on a regular basis rather than dump a lot. Remember, trace minerals becomes toxic very, very fast if you overdo it.
Yeah, too much is too much. Now, let's address this question. Can labs be done with powdered milk? I would say that it probably can or should be able to, as long as you're using a really good quality water to do that. But I've never done it with powdered milk. But I would say that, yes, you can. But let us know if you do try that. Farmer Cheryl, any way to avoid microplastics from foliar spraying? And did the ancients, and like for that question, I would say no. Microplastics are everywhere now where you're never going to be able to avoid them. And then did the ancients apply foliar amendments and how? Can you answer that one, Andy?
Yeah, they peed on everything.
Okay. Well, that would definitely be a foliar spray. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to eat it afterwards, though.
I was reading an article about how there are different types of biology that do eat microplastics, and they break it down. There's certain herbs you take as a cleansing diet for microplastics in your body. You can avoid it simply by paying attention to what your sources are. When you go to the store, don't pick up those little plastic bags that they give you to put your food in. And when you buy food, try to get food that's not wrapped in plastic. Lots of things, it doesn't even have to be plastic. I was looking at bamboo toothpicks. They're very high in micro plastics, which is kind of ridiculous, right? So there are ways, there are things you can do. And as for the ancients, they, I don't know any, I don't think they have a method. They had a method of foliar spraying because you would have to have some kind of pump that you can then spray it onto plants and stuff like that. I would think that their basic foliar spraying would be put in your mouth and spit it on plants.
Well, and they did do flood and drain systems a lot. You know,
that's one of the things they do. Rather than foliar spraying, they use the water as a way to provide the food for the plants. And I'm sure they made a form of compost, in terms of not so much a pile, but maybe they did it right in the ground. I know they recycle everything that they have from fish to plants, all animals. So they're very good at all that stuff. They recycle all that stuff, and that's basically their process. Every civilization has their own thing to do in terms of composting, in terms of how they use the recycling aspects of it. So it's all very interesting. It depends what part of the world you live in. If you live in a desert, your composting process is very, very different than you live in a tropical environment. That's what it comes down to. Guys, how are we doing for time? Okay.
We got 9 minutes. Let's just kick Serena's question around here. When I cut down tomato plants, should I bury the plant in the soil to compost or cut it into small pieces first?
You need to, first of all, if your plant's healthy, no problem. If your plant's not healthy, I would not do that because you're just going to bring the bacteria, the disease back into the soil again. Normally, a good rule of thumb is to run all your plants through your composting process. That's what I would do.
Instead of going directly into the ground with it, yeah.
Exactly right. Have a place where everything starts to work with your. You make a pile and fill it up with live stuff, and then go on to another pile. That is the best way because that biology will break everything down. It'll clean it up for you. So if you have sometimes they have too much, something could be on it that could be a disease, or a pest. And so one of the things about compost is that it heats up right at a certain temperature. I think it's 190, 200 degrees, something like that, where that's the minimum temperature you need to kill the diseases and to kill the pest eggs and stuff like that. Yeah. So anyway, I covered all the different minerals in here in terms of, because in the organic system, you learn to use all these different minerals. You learn how to use calcium and magnesium and copper. But what I would do is learn how to use the plant life that offers that. So there are many plants, vegetables, and herbs that are rich in magnesium. So don't go get magnesium. Get the herb that has the magnesium and learn how to do that. That would be the easiest way.
And this question from Penny Pebble Ripples, ever use any ivy or sumac in your compost? Asking for a friend.
I would not, because unless you're really very good at generating the heat in your compost to decompose it, otherwise you would just pass it on. And if a person, I would not want to get that in my eyes. So unless you make a pile that gets hot enough, I wouldn't do that. Usually the bins do not get hot enough. It would not decompose this. Remember, this stuff is very bad to get in your eyes, and it's an oil that is not going to break down very, very fast.
Mm-hmm.
I would just be careful doing that.
Okay.
The next chapter is Invisible Gardener's Kitchen. So I've done lots of shows where I go shopping for products. And so that'll be a lot of fun. I will see if I can pull up some of my old shows as me going shopping too. Because when I was a kid, they didn't sell this stuff. I would go in the stores and buy them. And so as I got into organics, I would buy the organic version of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Very good to use. Like I would be talking a lot about coffee. And coffee is an amazing product. Organic coffee, of course, is an amazing. It's an amazing product. Has amazing biology to come with it. and you can even use the plant. Of course, I want to grow some coffee bean plants here because that's amazing. Coffee is actually a medicine if you take it from the plant and use it within 24 to 48 hours. So imagine all the coffee you get. It's probably 6 months to a year or even older.
Now, is that you're baking it and following
Yeah,
the process, because it is a poison, right?
yeah. You can't. No, but
Yeah.
what you can actually take it out, and before you roast it and do all that stuff, there are ways you can use the coffee.
Oh, okay. Well,
Yeah,
make sure
it's a
that you
medicine.
know what you're doing before you
Right,
do
it's a
it,
medicine,
because
and I can go over it, but we don't want to really do that. I don't want people. I ate too many of those beans the other day, and they're like, what? Yeah,
I went to the hospital, man. They said I was poisoning myself.
it is an amazing medicine once you learn how to use it.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
remember, so go to my website, sign up to get the newsletter. The very bottom of the page, click here for your free ebook. You don't even have to mention the ebooks. There's a whole bunch of them. There's 4 or 5 of them. I will send everybody for as long as you have that little link there, because right now they're available for sale on the website. But this is a special secret. You can go to the website, sign up for the newsletter through the inquiry form, click on newsletter. The first letter you'll get, a newsletter you'll get from me, will say, click here. And I'm working on it so that it's always going to be in the newsletter. That way you have and then use the newsletter to find out everything else we're doing. I'm doing lots and lots of really cool shows. I'm doing more and more shows, more stuff here on a regular basis. I really love you guys. And what I really like is you ask questions. Come here, ask a question, and I will help you, okay?
Yeah.
Are we done yet? 4 more minutes. Oh, boy.
What are we going to talk about for 4 minutes, Andy? Oh, no.
I don't know. So anyway, one of the things that's going on, I'm doing a bunch of different workshops. I'm doing some some really live seminars are coming up. So we're going. What I have to decide if I want to be using this system or Zoom, because a lot of my friends use Zoom. They say, "No, I don't want to use that." So I don't know which to switch over to. I really like this. I can see it's much clearer, much the quality is there. And I like being able to simulcast to other places as well.
Well,
So
I know that a lot of people are really, used to using Zoom. And that's part of the problem with a lot of people,
yeah,
a lot of the older people, especially, because Zoom's one of the first,
been around,
meeting kind of thing, right?
been around, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway, guys, we're still not quite sure on our guest for this coming Monday with Leighton. Who knows? You just never know who's going to come out from behind the curtain on Monday. The girls are doing a show tomorrow on Chiropractic is Sexy. And let me just bring up what they have titled it here. Rewriting Your Body Health Story. Genes are the load. Life pulls the trigger. So that's tomorrow on Chiropractic is Sexy. Other than that, guys, Andy, fantastic brother, love you, and we will see
By the
everybody.
way, by the way, Philly says that coffee beans are toxic unless they're roasted. Okay, but that's the bean. When you grow coffee, you're going to find this bean inside of a nut. It's the juice of the nut you can eat raw. You don't eat the bean raw. You eat the gelatin, the jello that it sits in. That is the medicine. Just saying. Because I have been doing that for years. Look at me.
I have myself on mute. So yeah, there you go, guys. It's different. I was considering it just the bean, but always do your own research on anything like this.
Anything you eat, right? Anything you eat. Yeah. Remember, happy growing.
Okay, guys, peace out. And hey, if you have the time, join the channel, help us out, and we will see you guys